Welcome to the Sage Intacct product tour for financial services organizations. I'm Bob Shago. I work in Sage Intacct product marketing. Today we're going to look at why growing financial services companies turn to Sage Intacct to make big differences in managing client portfolios. We're going to do this by diving into the system and looking at a few of the ways financial services professionals use Sage Intacct to increase visibility across the portfolio and speed up decision making for their clients. We aren't going to dive into every area of the product today. Instead, I'll stick to those areas that are of general interest to most financial services companies. I'm going to show you how to work across multiple entities, how built-in dashboards and reporting provide immediate visibility, and how collaboration tools can document decisions for future discussions. Before diving into the system demo, I'd like to set the stage with why we're looking at these particular areas. What issues do you face as a wealth and asset manager today? Wealth and asset management requires you to navigate ever-expanding services from complex wealth portfolio goals to highly diverse lifestyle requirements. The ultra-high net worth market is growing fast, and with it we're seeing ownership structures becoming more convoluted and increasingly challenging when it comes to accounting consolidation. Interviews with thought leaders in asset management, family offices, private equity, and accounting have brought to light the acceleration of the diversification into alternative and illiquid assets like real estate, infrastructure, private equity, hedge funds, or private debt, potentially across multiple geographies. They've recognized the need to protect clients through not only more legal entities, but also more complex legal structures. Previously, this sort of structure was only available to large or sophisticated firms. We've seen a major shift to this strategy even among modestly sized firms. Lawyers, tax accountants, and auditors agree that effectively using this strategy is fundamental to the protection, acquisition, and sale of assets. We should be celebrating growth, but financial services professionals find themselves mired in busy work created by growth. Gathering and compiling valuation data to see how the portfolio is doing at any given moment becomes a stumbling block to making timely decisions. Untimely decisions can mean missing a growth opportunity or failing to correct for a downturn. The reporting spreadsheets that work so well for one-off analysis and prototyping become cumbersome and error-prone when used for regular processes across large sets of complex data. Valuing assets and using spreadsheets to get out end-of-period reports can take so many days or weeks that the reports are out of date as soon as they are complete. All of this leads to questionable, delayed decisions being made on old, questionable information. Because the financial services business has requirements and processes you need to follow, manual workarounds and spreadsheets used for ongoing processes cost you time and accuracy. Part of making business decisions includes collaboration. Things like email chains or undocumented comments often drive the why behind the decisions we make. Later, when we can't find these conversations or can't put them into their original context, we're left with speculation or recollection to make important decisions. Continued growth in a competitive environment requires a nimbler approach to finance. In today's demo, we're going to dive into examples of a nimbler approach made possible through the power of cloud computing. In this demonstration, I'll be showing an example organization. This example happens to be a family office, but the tools and processes I'll demonstrate apply to many types of wealth and asset management firms, including multifamily offices, wealth management firms, asset management firms, real estate investment trusts, venture capital firms and private equity firms, and accounting firms handling high net worth clients. In this example, as part of their ideal solution, the office uses built-in reporting configured and expanded by the accounting team without the help of IT. It captures real-time metrics that help the organization see where they're going each day. And any manager or stakeholder can access appropriate reports for review without having to request information from accounting. From a single login, leaders see financials across all their locations and entities, both individually and consolidated. And they see this consolidated view at any time, not just at the end of the reporting period. The accounting team configures the system to match their business requirements, and they continue to reconfigure and align workflows, forms, and reports without help from IT. Stakeholders and managers capture discussions and decisions in the context of financial records, avoiding future guesswork. Let's go ahead and get started by diving into our first area of the demo, multi-entity consolidated information. As we look across entities to see how they affect the whole portfolio, you'll start to see how a single sign-in to the organization can impact your view from the top, while still giving you the ability to quickly dive into the details. I've logged into the top level of a sample company and started on a dashboard. Before I jump into demonstrating how consolidations work, I'm going to take just a minute to point out how navigation works in Sage Intacct. I think this will help everyone follow along as I move around the system to different screens. Sage Intacct contains modules along the different accounting functions. The main menu shows all the modules a user has access to. Clicking on a module opens a menu for that module. Most have an All section that contains the records, tasks, and reports used on a daily basis, and a Setup section that contains configuration and records that get accessed more during setup or process changes. You can think of the company module as a configuration center for the global information of the organization. The Dashboards and Reports Center modules are a little different because they center around providing visibility into the activities and the records in the other modules. When I open a menu item and click next to it to add a star, this adds the item to my favorites list. The favorites list is tied to the logged in user, so it's different for each user. It contains things I use frequently or things I want to get to quickly for, say, an upcoming meeting. You may see me access the favorites menu during this demonstration to save time navigating to certain items. I've started out on a dashboard, and we'll be looking at a few different dashboards today. I want to point out up front that the dashboard module is included with Sage Intacct, but the individual dashboards are not. You build the dashboards, or have your implementer help you with them. We do have a few complex dashboards called board books that we sell as add-ons to specific industries like software and nonprofit. However, most dashboards are built by our clients to meet their specific needs. This is a general consolidations dashboard for the organization. You'll notice that this dashboard is made up of a list of consolidation reports from different entities. As we get ready to look at the consolidated reporting and what implications it might have for the business, I'd like to point out the structure of this organization and how a portfolio manager can use this environment to look at the different funds and entities in the organization. I'm going to move to the company menu and look at the entities that make up the organization. We have the William and Donna Corley entity, used for managing the personal home and day-to-day expenses of the family. Falcon Ridge Capital and RPB Alternative work as investment funds. John Corley Trust functions as a separate entity that isolates the trust from other funds. We have the WDC Foundation to manage charitable work, and then Corley Vehicle Holdings Company to manage vehicle assets, some of which may be depreciating, and some collectibles may be appreciating in value. Falcon Ridge Wealth Management doesn't function within a family office, but within a firm, an outside firm, it would serve as an entity for handling accounts receivable and payable for the firm itself. Notice that each of the entities has a numeric component. I want to point that out because it'll help us when we go back to the consolidation dashboard and see how we can mix and match entities in consolidated reports. Notice in this first consolidation, we've brought together entities 200 and 300, which I pointed out are the investment arms of the portfolio. By isolating them, we can look at growth in an area where we are more interested in growth. In the second report, we can look at the balance sheet across the first 4 entities. These represent the combined wealth management and growth entities within the portfolio. They start to paint a picture for the family of how their wealth is being managed. We can also isolate the eliminations that occurred between these 4 main entities. I'll come back to the topic of eliminations in a few minutes. The next consolidation report includes 500 and 600, the foundation and the vehicle holding company. We also see a column summarizing the eliminations. This information is not the product of weeks of manual work in spreadsheets. The various entities are being consolidated and reconsolidated in real time as the changes occur. From this top level, you can dive into any of the other entities to see metrics and perform accounting tasks in just those entities. I'll dive into the Falcon Ridge Capital Fund and then switch to an investment fund dashboard assigned to analyze that fund. You notice the system opens a new tab. From within the fund, I can perform accounting tasks such as making purchases and writing journal entries within that fund. I mentioned earlier that the finance manager doesn't need to be the gatekeeper on all reporting. This is because the administrator can limit users to certain entities. For example, on another tab I'm logged in as Nick. Nick is a fund manager for Falcon Ridge Capital. His job only involves that fund. We can see that on login, Nick arrived at that entity. In fact, as we go to the entity drop-down menu, that is the only entity Nick has access to. We've given Nick everything he needs to do his job without allowing him into other parts of the financials he doesn't need to see. Going back to the top level under our administrator, Emma's login, I'll show you how easy it is to limit access to entities. By going to Company Administration Users, we can see Nick's user information. Under User Entities, it was a simple thing for Emma to just select the Falcon Ridge Capital entity to limit Nick's access. No assistance needed from IT. I mentioned that I would talk more about intercompany eliminations. If you've been doing these by hand month after month, then you understand how they can slow down the close. In Sage Intacct, intercompany elimination journal entries are created automatically based on rules you set. Going back to that list of entities I showed you a few minutes ago, I can open the properties for any entity and go to Inter-Entity Setup. Here, you define the rules for how to account for intercompany eliminations. One prospective customer we were talking to said that the time savings from that alone would pay for his switch to Sage Intacct. I don't know if it will do that for everyone. However, it is the kind of automation that will accelerate your ROI. It also gets your finance team out of the business of mundane accounting tasks, freeing them to be more strategic. As we look at dashboards and reporting, we'll start with built-in role-based dashboards and then look at how you dig deeper, as well as how you create unique reporting to exactly match the needs of your business. I'll show you how you can use dimensions to filter and regroup data into meaningful information. We'll also look at how we combine financial and operational information to gain strategic insight into the business. This is one of the dashboards we've been looking at. I want to deconstruct it a bit to help you see how easy it is to build and modify to match individual business needs. I really can't say enough about dashboards. As I've talked to customers over the years, I consistently see those customers who use dashboards light up when I ask about them. The immediate visibility and control they bring to business management and decision making can't be overstated. Let's start by talking about the value of dashboards to individual users. Because they're completely customizable, you can build dashboards for any role in the organization. For example, if I go to this group of dashboards labeled role-based, you can see that we've built out some dashboards for key roles. A role-based dashboard like one of these can be the login point for a user so they can start their day with the latest information that matters most to their role. You can also create dashboards for specific purposes, as we saw with the consolidation dashboard and the FRC investment dashboard. I'll go ahead and select the role-based dashboard for the CFO. The first thing that jumps out on this dashboard is the performance cards. Each of these cards shows a metric for a current period. These show this month, though they could show this quarter or this year. They also have comparison metrics against the previous period. The comparison can be set to %, as they are here, or to an actual value. You can also choose to show a comparison to a budget. The arrows quickly draw attention to potential problems. The value on the performance card is a summation of an account group, or a calculation using account groups. An account group is just a set of accounts that you define from the chart of accounts. For example, cash references all the accounts from the chart of accounts considered cash on hand, such as petty cash, checking, savings, and so on. By clicking the amount on the performance card, I can drill down and see a breakout of all the different accounts making up this metric. The drill down even shows me the comparative period for the performance card. Let me show you just how easy this is by showing you how account groups work. Account groups are the building blocks for a lot of what we do in dashboards and reporting in Sage Intacct. As I said before, account groups are defined by you to match the needs of your company, and they don't require the help of IT because they're built through configuration menus. I'll first navigate to the list of account groups. These have been defined to match the needs of the sample company. With just a couple of clicks, I can add a new account group. On the Account Group Properties menu, I can select a range of accounts, other account groups, or a computation of different account groups. Statistical accounts are non-financial metrics like numbers of employees or ownership percentage. I can also select a category, which is a set of predefined tags applied to the accounts to speed up reporting. To keep this simple, I'm going to select Accounts for Period, select Rental Income through Dividend Income, 40200, 40300, and click Add. Up at the top, I'm going to call it Passive Income and set the normal balance to credit since these are all income accounts. I could choose to filter the account group by different dimensions or include only debit or only credit values. But to keep this demonstration simple, I'll go ahead and click Save. Now I have an account group called Passive Income that I can add to a performance card on a dashboard and use it in a financial report. As you've seen, performance cards aren't the only thing that we can add to dashboards. We can also add charts and reports. To demonstrate these, I'll move over to the role-based controller dashboard. The controller dashboard is built around analyzing day-to-day business affairs. For example, we have a report called Changes in Cash Balances, where the controller can keep track of various bank accounts managed by the office. We have a chart that not only gives us cash on hand at a glance, but also shows trends for cash on hand over a 6-month period. One of my favorite charts is down a little further, the current month operating expenses waterfall. This can be used in a number of situations to break out the component parts of a total, be that monthly expenses, an investment fund, or any similar structure. Each of these reports and charts are built and managed in the Report Center. Sage Intacct comes with upwards of 150 pre-built reports. These include financial reports that report against the general ledger, as well as module reports for things like vendor aging. You can create new reports using the report writer, or you can duplicate or modify existing reports. On the list, you can see a number of balance sheet reports. These are examples of duplicated or modified reports. The administrator simply copied an existing balance sheet report to get all the standard accounts to report on, and then modified the report by limiting it to certain books and entities. In the case of balance sheet residences, the report is filtered and broken out by location, which is a dimension. Opening the report, we see a balance sheet column for each location or residence and a column for the combined total. If we close the report and choose to edit in the report writer, going to columns, we see that the person creating the report didn't have to define each column. On column 2, he or she simply told the report writer to expand by locations. Had there been 5 or 10 or 100 locations, the report would have displayed a column for each one, giving us a quick way to analyze the individual parts that make up the whole. This is really what Sage Intacct dimensions are all about. We can break out information into significant groupings to see areas of opportunity and risk. You can think of dimensions as tags placed on transactions as you create them. On a bill related to one of the residences, I would tag the bill with the residence as the location. For example, if I were to enter a bill for the power company on the line item, I would set the location as Palm Beach residence. After I post the bill, the expense will be grouped with other expenses for the Palm Beach residence. Dimensions are part of financial reporting or reporting against the general ledger. As such, we enable them in the general ledger configuration. Here you can see 9 of the 10 pre-configured dimensions available in Sage Intacct. The 10th dimension is tied to the subscription billing module, which I'm not using in the sample company. In addition to these dimensions, you can create user-defined dimensions to further focus your reporting based on your business needs. For example, nonprofits often create additional dimensions for funds and grants so they can report revenue and expenses by different funds and grants. Dimensions can also be grouped. Grouping is done dynamically. For example, if you're dealing with a lot of locations, you could group them by state or region to create a hierarchy or summation of your reports. Diving into the dimension structures, an example of this is the way we have created structures for the different entities, which the system includes as locations. This helped us create reporting on the different consolidation groups we looked at earlier. We've also defined residences and vehicles as locations so that we can track expenses and valuation changes using dimensional reporting. Another way we analyze data is by calculating financials against non-financial metrics, like a business might look at revenue per employee. The number of employees is non-financial data, or what we call statistical data, used to analyze operational efficiency. We capture this in statistical accounts mentioned earlier. Decisions made in board meetings, when the data is in front of you, become more impactful over time when they're recorded and stored in the context of financial information they relate to. This last demonstration section will be short. It focuses on how Sage Intacct provides for conversations stored in the context of the financial records. In our sample company, the family is asked for a review of operating expenses in the RPB Alternatives Investment Fund. They've noticed an expense uptick versus the prior quarter. Drilling down, we see that there was a $4,100 professional services fee. Drilling down further, we see that there was an appraisal fee of $3,500 paid to Applebaum Heimelstein. On the transaction, we see a conversation in Collaborate. Emma asked Tom, "What piece was the appraisal for?" Tom responded, "This was on the Albert Olin piece to confirm a rumored drop in the value of his work." Appraisal confirmed the drop. Back on the dashboard, we see a confirmation of the drop in value for this collectible. If we go down to the collaboration feed on the dashboard, we can document this for future conversations. We can post something like, "Increase in operating expenses due to appraisal confirmed a drop in value of Olin piece." We can then take a snapshot of the chart and store it with the conversation. Even as the chart continues to roll forward in future reporting periods, we have a record for future conversations. We've eliminated the typical future state of searching through email chains or having to rely on recollection and speculation about past decisions and discussions. Finding past collaboration discussions is as easy as going to your collaboration feed. All your conversations are stored for easy access. From here, you can also connect with other people in the organization, create and manage groups, and look up attached files from previous posts. Groups can be open to the organization or they can be private. For example, you could create a group centered around a specific investment fund or client, and only members of that group would be able to access those conversations. I hope this gives you a feel for how Collaborate can accelerate work and document decisions in your organization as you use it to capture the why behind decisions. I told you this demonstration section was short. Now I'll go back to my presentation slides and share a few closing points to wrap up this product tour. So why Sage Intacct? We're the right partner to help in your success. Sage Intacct is the only financial system preferred by the AICPA, the organization that wrote the book on accounting. Every US-based company follows their standards, and they have over 431,000 members who've seen and used every accounting system out there. Of all the financial systems the AICPA has looked at, ours is the only one they prefer. No other software company can say this. We were rated number 1 in customer satisfaction by G2 Crowd this year, and we've been number 1 in customer satisfaction since 2015, based on over 2,000 verified customer reviews. Compared to our cloud peers, we've received highest scores on satisfaction, the way our product meets current business requirements, product direction, the way we focus on finance features for finance people every quarter when we do a new release, and our net promoter score. More people are likely to recommend our product to others versus any other vendor. We received the highest scores on Gartner's Critical Capabilities report for organizations with annual revenues between $50 million and $500 million, with headquarters and the majority of operations in a single country. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you saw some things that align with where your organization is going. We'd love to hear from you and even do a live demo of how Sage Intacct can meet your specific needs. If you want to learn more about Sage Intacct, you can try our 30-day trial, attend a webinar, follow us on Twitter, or connect with us on Facebook. Or contact us directly. We'd love to talk to you. Thank you.